MCI, or mild cognitive impairment, is not a disease, it's a condition of the brain. All of our brains have a condition. We have the condition of a young, healthy brain when we're young and healthy. And as we age, during the entire aging process, the brain changes. When we get into what we call seniors or older people, the brain has shrunk. And that's normal for everyone to have some of that. And by testing and through the process of learning this over many years, scientists, doctors, technicians in this area of uh, medical practice and psychological practice and mental health practice have determined an average for, say, a person 70 years old. And if your impairment exceeds what is normal for that age, then you are designated as mild cognitive impairment, which simply means that your brain is more impaired than other people of your age, and that you are still able to do your normal daily functions, even though you can't do them as well as you once could. This is on a line of continuum with dementia, which basically, as I understand it, means a diminished brain capacity, which is still not a disease. There is a disease called Alzheimer's, which is the cause of dementia in the people who have Alzheimer's. And the process of getting Alzheimer's is a long process that develops over decades, as does reduced brain function, such as mild cognitive impairment. And so you may have mild cognitive impairment and not have the disease of Alzheimer's, and you may never progress to that. Your level of impairment may not get worse. It may get worse, but still never reach Alzheimer's because it's just a diminished capacity, not a disease. It can even revert. This usually happens, as according to what I've read and studied, this usually happens when the source of the diminished capacity is something uh, I'm having a diminished capacity moment, is something like a chemical imbalance, like too much B vitamin or too little. I don't remember which one of those is more problematic. I think a diminished capacity or diminished level of vitamin B is one that can create a temporary impairment. In my particular case, the sources, according to the history and according to what they determined, are things that would not likely lead to a restoration because they're things that have done damage that can't be restored. That is from physical injuries to my brain through concussions and brain injuries of that type, of which I've had a number, and from abuse of alcohol, extreme abuse of alcohol, which destroys brain tissue, which can't be restored. So, where I go on the continuum of dementia, time will tell. If I were tested, or anyone was tested and found to have the amyloid protein or the tau protein, TAU, I'm not sure I'm saying those right, but I know that the principle I'm giving you is correct. then those things are present and consistent with Alzheimer's. And as I understand it, that can be determined from a PET scan and or a spinal tap. And if those are present, that's a strong indicator, if not an actual outcome predictor, that Alzheimer's disease is in the process. So let me just review. All of us are somewhere on the line of brain capacity. We're young and our brain is still functioning as it's intended to. We're in middle age or late young and early middle age and beyond, and our brain starts to function a little less efficiently. We can't make decisions as quickly. Our efforts to accomplish things that we used to accomplish more easily is compromised. But that's normal. But when those compromises, those impairments, those limitations of brain function go beyond what has been determined as normal for various ages, then that's what they call mild cognitive impairment, which is a form of dementia, meaning diminished capacity. And that dementia can increase and to the point that you basically have no mental capacity except just the basic functions of life, and it may not ever reach that place. And then there's the whole separate thing, which is very similar but a different process called Alzheimer's disease, which actually is a separate thing that I described earlier. So I know that probably this explanation is not crystal clear, but hopefully helpful in us understanding this process at least a little better than we did before. These are my understandings from my own studies. I'm not giving medical advice. And if you have concerns about this, I encourage you to be active in the process and to help yourself. Finally, I would say that to find out these things and to take appropriate steps that are appropriate considering your circumstances is very important. And that's what I'm continuing to do, and I encourage others to do so as well. If there are people that have concerns or issues about these types of things, I would be happy to talk with them and would love to talk with them. I wish there was a group similar to AA that we could call it Dementia Is Us. And, we could talk and encourage one another because, frankly, I think outside of the group that is in the midst of these issues, it's hard for other people to understand. Not that they don't want to, it's just they hadn't been there, so they don't know. They equate it with things they've experienced, like, oh yeah, I forget people's names, etc. And those are a part of the same thing, but if you've got a mild cognitive impairment, you've gone beyond that, as I've said several times. So I pray God's blessings on you. I pray that He helps each of us to understand, and that whatever our condition is, we know that in Christ it is well with our soul. And if you've never put your faith in Jesus, then I encourage you to do that today. Just to place your faith in what Jesus has done for you and be born again as a gift from God, not by anything we've done. Be happy to talk to you about that as well. God bless you.